Diffusion is a type of passive transport and does not require energy consumption. In the process of diffusion, molecules move based on their gradients. The chemical or concentration gradient causes the uncharged particles to move, and the electrochemical gradient plays a role in the motions of the charged particles. Simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion are two main types of diffusion by which molecules can cross the cell membranes. The movement of molecules through the lipid bilayer of the cell membrane is done by simple diffusion. Molecules that are transported by the simple diffusion process are usually small, nonpolar, or lipid-soluble, such as oxygen and carbon dioxide. Facilitated diffusion is used to transport substances that cannot pass through the lipid membranes due to their size or polarity, such as ions, glucose, and most of amino acids. Channel proteins and carrier proteins are the facilitators that are used in this type of transport. Transmembrane channel proteins are embedded in the cell membrane. They form the pores through which certain molecules can pass. Binding of the molecule to one side of the transporter protein causes a conformational change in the carrier, and the molecule is released on the other side of the membrane. This type of transport has a lower rate than transport through the channels. Several factors can affect the rate of diffusion and increase or decrease it. Here are some of them in no particular order. Increasing the concentration gradient increases the diffusion rate. As the environment approaches equilibrium, the rate decreases. In the case of charged particles, the electrical gradient should also be considered. Reducing the distance that is traveled by the molecule increases the rate of diffusion. Increasing the temperature increases the kinetic energy of the particle and increases the diffusion rate. The low molecular weight makes it easier to pass through the membrane and increases the rate of diffusion. The small size of the particle also plays a role in increasing the diffusion rate. Increasing the surface area of the membrane increases the diffusion rate, while increasing the thickness of the membrane reduces the diffusion rate. Increasing the number and diameter of the channels can increase the diffusion rate, whereas increasing the length and resistance of the channels may reduce the diffusion rate. Increasing the density and viscosity of the solvent can reduce the diffusion rate. It should be noted that the rate of simple diffusion is different from the rate of facilitated diffusion due to the specific characteristics of each type of transport. Properties such as polarity, electrical charge, and lipid solubility of particles, as well as saturation of membrane proteins, should be considered in determining the diffusion rate.